Welcome back to the channel. It's great to have you all here. So we're going to be diving straight into this video, and we're first just going to discuss what we are seeing here on the shorter term. Of course, we are on the 1-hour charts right now, and the chart for ZBCN looks absolutely amazing. Of course, since we covered ZBCN in our previous video, we've seen a massive rally here. 50% in the upwards direction over the past 24 hours. The prices went from 0.12 cents to a high there of 0.18 cents, and the prices are consolidating over the past few hours. And the structure of this pump is looking very, very bullish. Of course, as you can see from the right-hand side here, this is a list of all the cryptos that we cover on this channel. And it's surprising to see that almost every single crypto on this list is down today. Everything down by a few percentage points. But the one that really stands out to us is ZBCN, which is up 17% in that same time frame. So ZBCN, very, very bullish by the holders. Of course, a little bit before as well, we saw this tweet come out essentially saying that ZBCN have bought back some of their own token. They bought about $50,000 worth of their own token in March 2025. And this is a monthly recurring thing that they do as well. So we saw back in February they did exactly the same. And essentially, they used the profits from their own products to basically pay for the ZBCN token. And essentially, this is very, very bullish for the token, because as the ZBCN team are buying back their token, it reduces the circulating supply of the token on the open market, and this reduction in supply should increase the price in the longer term here on ZBCN, particularly if the demand stays the same or increases as well. So this is very, very bullish, and it's probably seen as very bullish by holders out there, because of course we've seen this massive rally while the whole market is dumping. So it's like ZBCN is essentially defying gravity right now. So it's really, really good to see. Of course, getting our annotations back up on the screen, you can see that the picture here, as we zoom out a little bit, is even better. This is what we were looking at here on ZBCN in terms of structure. So of course, the first thing you'll notice are these two gray lines. This upper line here was the long-term resistance here for ZBCN. Of course, the prices have come up to this level on 5 separate occasions to come and test it. And every single time we got a massive rejection from this level. Most recently, as we saw this pump over the past week or so, the prices actually came up to this level once more to test it as a resistance, and we got rejected before we saw this pump break out past this resistance. So what exactly does this breakout mean? It means that here on ZBCN, we could be seeing much higher prices, because if we have a look at this structure, we can take this as some sort of longer-term triangle structure. We have this upper resistance here. We've got this support level for the ZBCN, a price which has been tested twice on 2 separate occasions, as we can see. And as you can see, we've now broken out to the upside of such a structure. And of course, the price target from that should be the distance between the first test of support and resistance. And of course, since we've broken out to the upside, we can drag this to where we saw that breakout, which was just earlier today. And this gives us a price target here on ZBCN of 0.33. And so that would be 128% trade to the upside. But if this triangle is going to be respected, we still got another 84% upside to travel before the price target of this triangle pattern that we could be seeing be hit. So of course, if you're looking for a great place to buy or trade this breakout, then look no further than the MEX exchange. This is the exchange that I use for all my trading because they have some of the lowest trading fees. They don't require KYC to get started. And for a limited time only, they're giving every new user who signs up using the link in the description down below a free $20. So if you want to make use of this offer, sign up in that link in the description down below. It takes less than a minute to do so. Deposit some fiat or crypto into your MEX account, and they'll give you that $20 straight away. So you can, for example, just buy some ZBCN or trade this breakout, of course. Thank you so much for all of your support on this channel. Let's get back on this video. So this is the picture that we are seeing right now. Essentially, a breakout to the upside from this long-term triangle that we have seen here on ZBCN. Of course, this is just step one of the longer-term plan here on ZBCN, because what we also potentially have here is something that looks like this. This is our upper resistance line that essentially connects the all-time high here of ZBCN to this high that we had here on the February of 2025. And as the prices get to this level, I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens as the prices get there. Because if we see that as a shorter-term resistance and the prices start to break out to the upside from this, we could be looking at an even bigger price pattern here on ZBCN. Of course, if we break out past this upper trend line also, we could be looking at this as the potential price target from an even larger triangle breakout. And of course, this would give ZBCN the motive to get to those upper price targets towards that 1 cent region there. Of course, any such breakout from this triangle will result in a 392% trade. And that is why I'm paying attention to this trend line as well as prices approach it. Of course, right now we are sitting a little bit below it at 0.18 cents, but as the prices approach 0.19 cents there, it'll be interesting to see how Zebec reacts to it. If we do see a clear breakout, then we could be starting to look at that price target towards the 1 cent region. Of course, what we need to see for any such breakout is an increase in trading volume. Of course, something like what we saw a little bit earlier today where we saw a spike in trading volume. That is healthy if we want to see a clean breakout from a resistance. So really excited to see what happens here with ZBCN. Just one thing to note that I've also noticed here on ZBCN, and if you've watched other videos on my channel, you'll know that I love the fib levels because they generally tend to be good places of support and resistance. And what we have potentially seen here on ZBCN, if we connect the low to the high of the ZBCN price, is that the prices right now are hovering around the 0.1, the 0.618 fib here. This is an important fib here on ZBCN. And essentially, as the prices have pumped, they've used this 0.618 fib as a potential resistance. And so what I think might be healthy in the shorter term, I would not be surprised if we see something that looks a little bit like this, actually, where we see the prices kind of consolidating around this region, because of course we know fib levels are strong places of resistance for the ZBCN price. And so I think it would be healthy if we do see a small consolidation around this region before the next leg up. Of course, right now ZBCN has only just got to this 0.618 fib level. But over the next hours and days, if you're looking to see which direction ZBCN is going to go into, look out for any sort of pattern that might be forming here on ZBCN. If we see something like this, for example, that could indicate to us that we are seeing some sort of triangle pattern, and that could be a tradable pattern that could tell us that we might break out to the upside, or if things start to look bearish, then they might trade, they might break out to the downside. So just watch out for the price action over the next few hours, particularly if you're a shorter-term holder here on ZBCN. This could show us which way ZBCN is going to be going if we see a breakout from a pattern like that. But for now, I'm keeping my eyes on these fib levels, and I'm keeping my eyes on this upper resistance line at 0.19. Of course, the immediate price target that I have for you guys is 0.33 cents as a result of that breakout from that smaller triangle that I showed you. But of course, if we break out from that 0.19 cents level, we could be looking at an upper price target there of 0.93 cents. Of course, 0.93 cents would put ZBCN at roughly a $700 million market cap. And in 2025, I do think the price targets that are possible here for ZBCN are ranging between 2 to 3. That would put it at roughly a $1.5 to $2 billion market cap, which I think ZBCN is completely capable of. It's in a very strong niche here in crypto, the payments infrastructure category of crypto, which I think will do extremely well this 2025 bull run. But of course, for ZBCN to get to these highs, we need to see the fear and greed index at extreme greed, the one that you see on CoinMarketCap. Of course, at the moment, we are in neutral leaning a little bit towards greed, But what we need to see is extreme greed return to the markets. Additionally, we also need to see this altcoin season index clearly pointing at altcoin season. So this value really has to be above 75 for ZBCN to do really well. At the moment, it's at 19, meaning Bitcoin is still outperforming all coins. So that's basically my thoughts here on ZBCN. In a nutshell, I'm extremely bullish. I'm glad to see a nice little pump here on ZBCN. I'm glad to see this pump here on ZBCN. Of course, if you are a holder here on ZBCN, give yourself a massive tap on the back, particularly if you held through ZBNC through all the highs and the lows here on ZBCN over the past few months. You definitely deserve this pump that you are getting. And one last thing, don't forget, like, share, and subscribe.